You let someone go for bad performance, but now they're claiming retaliation and you don't have a single written warning to back you up. By the end of this video, you'll know how to document performance issues the right way. So when you have to let someone go, you'll have the paper trail to prove it and protect your business. You've got an employee who just isn't cutting it. They're missing deadlines, showing up late, making mistakes. It's been happening for a while now. You've given them plenty of chances and decide it's time to let them go. It's your business, so you can just fire them, right? Well, bad news. You didn't document any of it. No written warnings, no corrective action plans, no email follow-ups, just memories of conversations that may or may not have even happened. Here's what usually happens next. The employee files for unemployment, and a few weeks later, you get served. Now, you're defending a wrongful termination, discrimination, or retaliation claim. And when your lawyer asks, "Where's the paper trail?" you just shrug and say, "Well, we talked about it." Yeah, that's just not going to cut it. Now, if you terminated someone for bad performance but didn't document the performance issues, you've handed the plaintiff a giant gift. Because now, their lawyer gets to paint a totally different picture. And guess what? If they can show that they have a protected characteristic like disability, they're pregnant, their race, their age, etc., and that they were let go without a clear documented reason, boom. Now you might be on the hook for discrimination or retaliation. No documentation makes even the most justified termination look suspicious. Courts and agencies like the EEOC and the Department of Labor want to see that you treat the employee fairly and consistently. They want to know when you notice the performance issue, what steps you took to address it, whether you gave the employee a real opportunity to improve, and whether you've held others to the same standard. And if you can't show that on paper, well, then the story becomes, they fired me for staying home to take care of my sick parent, or I was fired because apparently my boss didn't like where I'm from. Even if performance was the real reason, you have to prove it. Here are 5 good documentation tips. Number 1, written warnings. Not just a verbal warning you remember, put it into writing. Include the date, the issue, and the corrective steps. Number 2, performance improvement plans or PIPs. Outline expectations, timelines, and consequences clearly. Make it reasonable, but fair and firm. Number 3, emails and recaps. After tough conversations, follow up in writing. Something like, "Per our conversation today," goes a really long way when a claim shows up 6 months later. Number 4, consistency. If another employee made the same mistake and didn't get written up, be ready to explain why. Inconsistency is fuel on the fire. And number 5, signatures. A signed acknowledgement shows the employee saw the warning, even if they didn't agree with it. Now let's talk about tone for a second. Documentation shouldn't sound angry, dramatic, or personal. This isn't a high school report card. "We're disappointed in you" doesn't belong in your write-up. Stick to the facts, be specific, be professional. Here's an example. John keeps slacking off versus, on March 10th, John failed to submit the required sales report by the 4 p.m. deadline. This was the 3rd time in 2 weeks. One of these sounds like a rant. The other sounds like evidence. Now, you might be thinking, this feels like a lot of work. But let me tell you what's actually a lot of work. Spending 12 months in litigation, paying lawyers $500 an hour, all because you didn't take 5 minutes to document. Remember, juries don't see you as a small business trying your best. They see a power imbalance, employer versus employee. And when the documentation is missing, that imbalance gets worse. Now let's recap. Most performance issues don't need to become legal issues, but if you don't document, you're gambling. And if you only start documenting right before termination, that looks retaliatory. You have to start early, be consistent, and write it down every step of the way. Because if you say, "We fired them for bad performance," and the court says, "Prove it," you better have more than just your memory. Thanks for watching.